All right, so everyone join me in a warming round of applause for Mr. Aaron Wolfe.
It's my first day at the kibbutz dairy, and my boss, this alcoholic British expat named Willie, says, "Aaron, man, grab a raincoat and meet me out back." And I look up, and there's not a cloud in the sky. It's beaming sunlight, and we're in the middle of the Israeli desert. And I say, "Willie, I don't think it's going to rain." And he gives me this look that can only mean, clearly you've never experienced explosive bovine diarrhea before. Now, I'd come to Israel for a multitude of reasons, but the primary reason was I had heard about this thing called redemptive labor. This kind of work that was so good and so important that when you did it, when you were finished with it, it was as though your soul had been torn from your body and you were renewed and forgiven for whatever you had done. And I had done a lot of things. I was 18 and I was fucked up and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and that sounded great. Also, I'd been told kibbutz girls were horny for Americans, but that turned out to be bullshit. So I was ready to do whatever Willie needed me to do. And about 2 weeks later, I show up for my 3 o'clock in the morning shift, and he says, "I've got someone I want you to meet." And he leads me to the other room, and there waiting for me is this tall, skinny guy with this like pencil-thin mustache, and he's smoking a 100, and he's got this like little cup of espresso. He looks like John Waters, but like creepier. And he goes, "I'm doo-doo. I am the inseminator. And my job is to assist Doo-Doo in whatever he needs me to do. And that is to keep track of the list of the cows and all of the cows that are going to be inseminated and all of the bull semen that they're going to be inseminated with. And you don't want to screw up the list because you don't want a cow to be inseminated by her father, because that's like hillbilly cow stuff and that's creepy. And the other thing I'm supposed to do is hold the cow's tail up, because that cuts off a nerve which prevents the cow from kicking, and that's important. Because what Doo-Doo is about to do to these cows is horrifying. I don't know if you've seen Jackass or like lots of YouPorn, but here's what happens. Doo-Doo plunges his right arm up to his shoulder into the cow's butt. From there, he grabs the birth canal, pulls it straight, removes a 2-foot-long syringe from a holster that he wears on his side, and plunges that up to his elbow into the cow's vagina, thus completing the circle of life as God intended it. The first time I saw it, I basically almost passed out. The 15th time, however, it was like I was on peyote. The walls of reality were just melting around me, and all I could see was John Waters fist-fucking cows. It was awful. And then I get to the second to last cow, and in goes the right arm, out comes the syringe, in it goes, and that's when I say, "Oh, Doo-Doo, that's the wrong bull semen," which is something I had never screamed before. And he takes the syringe out and he goes, "Oh, yeah." And now we have a problem. He can't put the syringe on the ground because that will ruin the syringe, and he can't give it to me because I can't let go of the cow's tail, and he can't put it back in the holster because that will cross-contaminate the other syringe. This is very valuable bull semen that he has done terrible things to harvest. And that's when I see Doo-Doo put the syringe in the only place that he can. This dripping, wet bull syringe goes right between his lips, and then he quickly finishes the job, and then he says, "It's very sterile. Don't fucking tell anyone." And I go home, and I take this like very long hot shower because I don't know what redemptive labor is supposed to be, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't involve cow smegma, and I'm not up for it. And a couple of weeks later, I sort of like, I've been in this daze, and I'm doing the 3 a.m. milking again, and I'm kind of going through the motions, and it's just the end of the shift. The sun is just peeking over the hilltops, and Willie comes running in. He says, "Aaron, man, I need your help." And he goes running out, and I go running after him, and I find him in the back of this area where we keep the pregnant cows. And there's a cow, and she's giving birth. And I see these like 2 little hoofs and a little snout, and I think, oh man, I've seen City Slickers, so I know how this is supposed to go. Like, Billy Crystal gets like a little bit dusty for 30 seconds, and then it's all over. And that's not at all what happens. The next thing I know, my shoulder is wedged under this cow's ass, and I'm pushing with all my might. And Willie has these 2 ropes attached to the calf's hoofs, and he's pulling with this like car jack looking thing. And he's pulling, and I'm pushing, and he's pulling, and all of a sudden there's this like thump. And the calf falls to the ground. And the calf's not breathing. And Willie says, "You gotta do CPR." And the only time I've ever done CPR in my life was in 5th grade babysitting class, and it was on a plastic dummy. So I'm not sure I know what I'm doing, but he says, blow, man. So I grab this calf by the snout, and it's dripping wet with its cow's mother juices, and I press my lips to it, and I start blowing, and Willie starts doing chest compressions, and I'm blowing, and he's compressing, and I'm blowing, and then he just throws me off of the calf, and he leans back, and he punches the calf in the chest. And the calf kind of shudders and goes, and then gets up and starts feeding from its mother. And I kind of collapse on this bale of hay, and Willie collapses next to me, and I'm waiting for the heavens to open up, and like, just here it is, redemption, right? Like, I'm gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay. And I don't feel a fucking thing, except for disgusted and exhausted. And then Willie puts his hand on my shoulder, and he looks me right in the eye, and I think, oh, right, Curly has to say the thing to Billy Crystal. That's when the redemption thing happens. And Willie says, right, she was queefing like a cunt. And then he walks away. And it's not till later that night, when he's blind drunk from alcohol, that he throws his arm around me and he says, Aaron, man, you're all right for a Yankee. It's the nicest thing he'll ever say to me the entire year that I work on that kibbutz dairy farm. And that's the closest that I'll ever get to redemption, but that's fine with me. Thanks.